What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Second Street. I hope you're all having a very good day today. I am your host, Trinity. Thank you all so much for being here. Today we are going to be talking about Black Widow. Yes, Black Widow has finally released at theaters and is now streaming on Disney Plus with Premiere Access, where you can go and pay $30 to watch Black Widow as much as you want until it's available, as many people would say, for free with your subscription. I can't remember when it's coming up. I don't really know. I paid the $30 too, dang it. But also got out last night with my family for the first time in well over a year to the theater. It took me, my 3 kids, my wife was at work, one of my best friends from back home, and as well as one of my good friends here that we go to all of the Marvel movies together. We've been doing it for, I don't know, quite a while. So we finally got out to the theater once again, and I gotta say it was great to be back in the theater. They've been open for a little while, and there's probably been opportunities for me to go see other movies and everything, but this was really the one I was kind of waiting for. And you know what, I gotta be honest, it looked like everybody else was as well. We got there to the theater. You could see there was a bunch of people there turning out to watch the movie, and got into the theater, and I gotta tell you, it was pretty packed in there. I was sitting like, hey, I thought, didn't Cinemark, weren't they doing the social, like, man, it was pretty packed in there. But I'm not complaining. It's all good, because it was great. The atmosphere was great. You could tell the people were there waiting to see our next Marvel movie, Black Widow, something that we have waited so long to see, right? Something we waited so long to see, whether in theaters or even on streaming. It became available for streaming at midnight here on the West Coast. You know, so if you're out on the East Coast, it would have been like 3 in the morning and stuff like that. You know, it's kind of messed up. They should have done it at midnight, like East Coast time, right? Everything else is East Coast time. They should have released it midnight East Coast time, because then that's like 9 o'clock my time. I could, could have fit in about another hour of the movie before I went to sleep. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Feel free to let me know how you thought, what your thoughts were on the film. I'm not going to get into spoilers quite yet about the movie or anything, but I will get into a review. But before we get into that, also make sure you check your Myrtle bit while you're here. You can enter !Myrtle bit down in the chats. It'll tell you how much Myrtle bit you have acquired. Now, the Myrtle bit is how you get entered into the giveaways that we do here on the channel. And so basically what will happen is you acquire that just by hanging out here on the live streams, being here on the live streams, and hanging out with all the great folks that you see in the chats and interacting on there. So it's a good time, and that's how you get entered. The Myrtle bit helps buy these tickets. These tickets are what help you get entered into the giveaways. It's pretty cool. So just been giving away some comic book stuff, in case you guys don't know. There are a lot of things that I am really passionate about, but I've been wanting to share some of the comic books that I have been getting, just some different ones from some of the different local comic shops that I have been visiting. We gave some away last week from a local creator. We also got one that was signed, a couple of them signed. One was a shop exclusive from from Brave New World Comics down in Santa Clarita. The other one was part of the Signature series of books down at Collective Paradise. So, like I said, to get entered into those, you got to be here on the live streams, interacting with all of these great people that you can see here in the chats. Also, if you would like, you can become a channel member as well if you want to support the channel with your hard-earned dollars. There is a link down in the description, or you can click the join button right next to the subscribe button, which hopefully you're already subscribed if you're here watching, right? So, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into that. And also, the channel memberships, we put that money towards crowdfunding comic books, and we do some giveaways and stuff with those as well for channel members. But anyway, let's go ahead and get right here into Black Widow. We know this movie has been done, like when they shoot this back in probably like 2019, this movie was done. As far as I know, they said they didn't really do any kind of edits on this over the last year. But getting into this movie, it starts off obviously with a flashback. This whole movie is basically a flashback, if you will, right? Isn't it? And we flash back to 1995. You know, a time which was, we've seen times that are a little bit earlier in the MCU. We see Black Widow there with her family. They're kind of there, you can see they're kind of close all together, and then it turns out that they are actually Russian spies. You see them ending up leaving the United States on this plane. It was all very dramatic, and that kind of sets up the story for what's going on as they all get split apart. Now, altogether, I thought this movie, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the movie was pretty good. It starts off with, like I said, that whole little flashback, and then you get into some more modern stuff going on in the world of the widows as you see other these widow warriors out there tracking down targets. And it really kind of gets into some more like espionage kind of stuff here. As they are tracking down who you don't really know, but after we see some of the confrontation, you figure out exactly what's going on. As we find out that the widows are all these widow warriors are under a under some sort of mind control, and that's really what happens with the widows here. Is they are going Natasha and Yelena, they're going out to put an end to all of this, which kind of ties back into the history of Natasha Romanoff and everything like that. I thought this movie was pretty good. Now, we all know that it's been long overdue, and the placement of this film certainly could have been a lot better. Even getting out of this film, it's like this movie should have been placed in a lot better place. Now, one of the things I will say is even given that, if it had been released earlier, I still feel this movie was fun and entertaining, but it wasn't quite it had a lot of the great MCU things that we want out of a movie, but she is still just like a street level hero and not anybody with superpowers or anything like that. So it is kind of cool to see and get more of these kind of ground level movies. So, but I think that in itself kind of makes it like the stakes are very low in it, especially considering what we know that happens to Natasha in Avengers Endgame and her whole journey there. And this movie is kind of a passing of the torch of the Black Widow mantle, if you will, from Natasha Romanoff to Yelena. And the placing of this film, I mean, I'm not sure that this movie in itself, had it been placed in an earlier in the MCU, if this had been done, after Civil War, had this been done just before Infinity War, had this been done just after Infinity War, say in that spot with where Captain Marvel was at, or where Ant-Man and Wasp were at, I don't know that this movie, it would have made this movie any better of a film than it is. It is fun and entertaining. I'm like, it kind of falls somewhere in between wanting to be like, I don't know, maybe like Ant-Man and Captain America Civil War, or not Civil War, but Winter Soldier. It kind of feels like it's kind of falling in between there. There's a lot of funny moments between Natasha and Yelena, and just girls doing girl stuff, being and and saying all of that, a lot of people, might think like, oh, like people thinking about, like feminism and all that stuff. They didn't really have any of that kind of stuff in this movie, which was kind of good and kind of refreshing. The only thing you did see is a bunch of female, these widow warriors, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, that's kind of what they were picking out. You see, they set a lot of that up in the movie, and altogether, it was fun. But again, I don't think it was quite on that same level of what a lot of the other MCU movies are at this point. It actually does feel a little bit more like, I don't know, maybe it feels like a Phase 2 movie in a Phase 4 setting. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because a lot of the early MCU films are absolutely great. Arguable that some of them are actually the better ones of all the MCU films. But again, I think this film definitely suffers from being kind of like Cap. It's out of time, and I think it suffers for that. But again, I don't think that having been released any earlier, that this movie in itself would have been that much better. And one thing, obviously, here we got Taskmaster in the movie. I mean, to me, it was really kind of no surprise that it was revealed who, by the time you get the story of Natasha and Dracov's daughter and things like that, all these things that happen, Budapest and all of this stuff that happened that they've kind of danced around for all of these years. It really came as no surprise who Taskmaster was. And it's one of the things I was definitely let down by here in this movie. Now, I will say, here in a little bit, I will talk a little bit more about the Taskmaster thing. But altogether, for the movie that is here, it actually makes a whole lot of sense. Now, we've seen in the past MCU, we've seen Natasha Romanoff going around being a badass, beating up a bunch of people, but you never really see her out there kicking somebody's butt that is, 6'5", 350 pounds, or just like some big old yoke dude, or just some. You never really see that. She's always taking on foes that are generally within her wheelhouse, and that's why the Taskmaster thing kind of makes sense in this movie. And it's fitting, but it's still kind of a letdown. And again, that's kind of throughout the whole movie with the Natasha thing. Again, you don't see her taking on, and that's what's kind of cool is like with all these female warriors, and that's why like with all these warriors from the Red Room. You see that they are female. Again, there's nothing really overpowering or anything like that. So again, a lot of the setting and everything makes sense. There's a lot of hand-to-hand combat, knives, sword, obviously as well with Taskmaster. But a lot of this stuff that is kind of somewhat realistic with everybody that is fighting and going on here. Some of the things that I thought were again, some were the down parts is like Ray Winstone was in here playing Dracov, and I think Ray Winstone is absolutely great. And I feel like he was underutilized, but I kind of feel that about everybody throughout the whole cast. And again, I think this probably comes a little bit more down to directing, maybe even some of the writing as well. Where like I don't feel like we got enough out of the characters in this film, and Ray Winstone is certainly one of them. Ray Winstone is a good actor, especially in a role like this, and seeing him in here, you see some of the confrontations that he gets into, and he's kind of being I don't know, like just overpowering and overbearing, and just it's like, but it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? I think this is probably where there is the difference of, obviously we got a female director here, and I think that kind of plays into it, which makes sense. You got a lot of the female cast, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think a lot of female directors do good for certain things like that, especially if you got a lot of females on screen doing these kind of things. Some of these interactions, there is one I'll get into a little bit later, but you get a little bit more of that kind of feel, that like a little bit more authentic. But then you get into things like this, the scenes with some of the Dracov stuff where he's kind of being, you can't even say he's like being a misogynist or anything. He's just supposed to be this overpowering man. And it just doesn't come off very good. It doesn't play well. And it's like, okay, like see, like, and I think that's with a lot of the action in this movie as well, where a lot of it feels that same kind of way. It doesn't feel burly enough, you know. Where you get into some of the female action stuff, it actually gets a little bit better. But altogether, the action in the film seemed very 80s to me, you know, like 80s 90s, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it seems, and it's and honestly, in a lot of the landscape these days with films, that it's all just a bunch of quick cuts, shaky cam and stuff like that. It was actually nice to kind of see that, but it is still not quite what we're used to seeing out of the MCU in some of the action scenes. But again, I thought it was done very well. Altogether, I thought the movie was pretty good. Some of the stuff in the story, like I want to dig some comic books out and show some of the stuff here for you guys. Like, and not even like comics, like the comic books, like the source material, like the actual comic books that tie into the MCU stuff. That like they're the MCU prequels and stuff. There's one of them in here that like when we see towards in the movie something that was going on that I'm like, ooh, like this happened in one of their own books. That like I just don't see this happening. I don't see this happening. But I don't know. We'll get into that a little bit more. But altogether, the movie was very good. Just some of the stuff just like didn't hit right, as well as I think the timing kind of suffered, makes this film suffer. But altogether, not a bad film. It was fun. It's not going to be necessarily forgettable. The rewatchability is going to be interesting because there was some stuff like how people feel about that, but there were certainly some things that were said and done in this movie that were very interesting, and we'll get into some of those in just a few minutes as we get in here and check out the live chats and see what some of you all are saying and talking about there in the live chats. And we'll get into some more spoiler type of stuff. But altogether, I thought the movie was good. Definitely worth seeing on the big screen. I was glad I seen it in the theater. We also got it here at home to watch, so probably get into it and watch it a couple of more times. But let's get into the live chat and see what everybody's saying. What everybody's saying. Okay, so first up, who do we have here? We've got Daniel Fisher says, seeing it tonight, we'll have to catch the replay. No problem, Daniel Fisher. Fanjecture, my man, says, I really enjoyed it. Mike Porter loved it. Says, went to the theaters. I was in a huge theater and only 20 seats were open. Yeah, parking lot was full. Yeah, our theater was as well. Christopher Barker says, 82nd Street, I'm disappointed by this film. Look, man, like, I'll be honest with you. I'm a little let down by it, but I'm not disappointed. You know, I'm definitely let down, but not disappointed. If that makes sense. If that makes any sense, I let down, not totally disappointed. Certainly could have been better. Certainly could have been better. Watch tomorrow. Don't care about spoilers though. I may not even go. Ah, come on, Reaper Man. Ah, maybe I was gonna say, but could always probably do one of those little watch along thingies with the Myrtle Maniacs. Is it the worst film ever? No, nothing special though. Yeah, I kind of like. Yeah, I mean it's nothing special. Yeah. Yeah, I already know most of the spoilers. I'll watch tomorrow, I guess. All right, Nikki. Fair enough. Mike Porter says I loved it. Yeah, understood it, Christopher Barker, but I personally loved it. Captain Pennsylvania, my man, is in the building. What is up? Says I didn't hate it. There's just some things that disappoint me. Yeah. Trini said mantle trigger. Yeah. Spoiler free in here. Spoiler free. Yeah, we'll get into it in just a minute. Mike, we got one more day, my man. Oh, okay. You guys are going to all to the theater, huh? To see it together. Right on. Cap Burke and I. Nice. All right. You Cap and Burke. There you go. Nice. Yeah. Spoilers are fine. Yeah. I was, but yeah. No, you're all good. Well, like I wasn't getting into it then. I did say some stuff, but it wasn't anything that was spoiler. Let's see. The biggest disappointment was Red Guardian fighting Taskmaster. Wanted more. Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely that too. Definitely that as well. Spoiler free before I skip ads. Don't skip those ads, you son of a. Don't be skipping those ads. Yeah, it should have been made years ago. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I mean, like, years ago, like, I honestly, like, don't really feel like it would have been necessary any earlier than, say, after Ultron. I don't feel like I like the character and everything, but like how was everybody else feeling? I mean, I know like a lot of people like Black Widow, but as far as it being any sooner, I mean, I kind of don't feel like it should have been any sooner than maybe just and it probably would have been a completely different story, but maybe just a little bit before like maybe after Ultron, sometime after that, before maybe Civil War, maybe just a little bit after, but like yeah, it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say. And the thing is, because like in those like it's easy to say that, but in the early phases of the MCU, was that the place for the ground level character when they were still kind of building it up? I mean, it would have been actually, it would have been, but like, was it as exciting, you know, as a Phase One film? Would this movie have been exciting? It would have been. It would have been seemed like a better film because just due to the timing. Because like, oh, okay, like, oh, cool, like, great. But then you wouldn't have had all the stuff that was in it. It would have been a completely different film. And how many people were invested, you know, with her already? Like after Iron Man 2. I mean, it could have been after Iron Man 2. It could have been a good spot. You know, just have her. But it would again, it would have been a completely different film and not what we got in this film. And you know what? Honestly, that's not really necessarily a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily a bad thing. You know, alone. I'm in the minority, but I make no excuses for my being an MCU stan. Yeah, yeah. You know, alone. Yeah. I guess it's a smash and dash piece. Okay, leave. Adam here too. Thought it smelled like fly. Oh, dang. Dang, we got some hockey talk going on. Like Black Widow can't fight Dreykov because of pheromones. I thought that was oh, you know what? And we'll get into that. We'll get into that, Christopher Barker. My daughter's birthday is this weekend, so I have a few things going on. Oh, all right. All right. Gonna watch this in an hour. Nice. All right. All right, Adam. Thank you so much for being here. Adam's there's two Adams in the house right now. We got from Fanjecture and then due to reviews as well. He's Adam also. How does the Red Room aerial base explodes? It's dumb. Yeah, like I said, we could go on a lot of stuff. I mean, there's yeah. I understand Christopher Barker. I do understand. Maybe it's lazy writing, but a man like that just been in power long. Needed an equalizer. You're in charge of that many widows. Yeah. Oh, Adam disagrees. I thought the action was great and modern. See, and I thought it like, for me it felt like very 80s style, and that, like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I like most of the action films that I like are back in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's not a bad thing. But like, you know, so much these days we get all that. You know, it's just that, you know, like that shaky cam stuff, and you can't really tell what's going on here. And I thought that was great. I mean, I think that's what's good about it. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but I kind of feel like it's not that MCU like level like we normally get. Like, but again, it was fitting for the world that we were getting here too. But, yo, and yeah, and I didn't say the choreography was bad neither. I thought the choreography was pretty good. I thought a lot of it was good. But the action itself was more like I said, it felt more like 80s style, and even like a lot of the like the kind of story and the plot and the way it went kind of felt very 80s style. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, they give you a little bit of story, a little bit of action, a little bit more story, some more action, and then you know it kind of slows down, give you some more story, give you some story, and a little bit of action. You know, it's just like the way they did it felt very throwback like. And like I said, it's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily it's not a bad thing. Yeah, exactly. No, and Apex, no, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. There wasn't anything very bad in it. Like, I know there was some reviews or something, some interview going on out there that um, people, somebody wrote a headline like, this movie puts men in its place or something like that. I'm like, didn't really do any of that. There's like, I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything like that in the film. Um, like I said, I mean, it's just, I think a lot of it is the film is kind of long overdue, and the stakes are pretty low for the film. We know that it's really only setting up stuff for the future, and I think that's, I don't know. I think that's a bad thing. I think that's a bad thing. You know what I mean? I think that's a bad thing. Yeah, I thought it was the most grounded MCU movie for the most part. The action and humor was the highlights. And the humor was okay. Now, when I get caught up on the chats, I will talk about some of the humor. Patricia, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. I better leave before the spoilers kick in. Report on one. I'm okay with the mind controlling Black Widows. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. This movie should have been released in 2017. I can agree with that. 2017 might have been fitting. 27, yeah, that's pretty fitting. I think that might be fitting. Let's see. Everybody's saying what's up to Patricia. I thought it was mind control widows. It was great symbolism. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. Well, and that's some Brandon Moore. Thanks for bringing that up too, because that's one of the things I thought was kind of cool too. Is like one of the things that like Dreykov said in there was when he was sitting there talking about looking when he was looking in her eyes. He's like, oh, I know the eyes of basically a girl I raised basically and all that stuff. And it was very I thought there was some very cool stuff in there, like psychologically. I mean, just thinking about people and how they react to their abusers and people who have this power over them. There was some definitely cool stuff in there like that, and especially then by the time you get the mind controlling in there as well. And we'll get into a little bit more of this stuff here in just a minute as well. Yes, I understand the pheromone thing. He needed an equalizer. Yeah, but I think there's a lot more to that. I think there's so much more to that. The whole pheromone thing, like, man. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Add spoilers to the title of your stream. God, Nikki. God. You people are so picky. We'll do it. Let's see. Okay, we'll put it in here. With, oh, what? We'll put, and actually, I guess it's kind of fitting because now we're getting into them, right? With spoilers. Should I put like in parentheses about halfway through? About halfway through. There we go. Bam. There you go. There you go. Okay. Okay. There we go. We got. Well, we haven't really gotten into. We just now started getting into spoilers, so you know. Okay. Skywalker Club says, "I love that. I feel like Marvel has too much jokes." Yeah, I thought, like I said, there was a lot of jokes. There was a lot of jokes in it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I watched We're at the Alamo Draft House on Monday night. Nice. Was it strange to anyone else that Nat and Clint were casually mentoring Budapest, mentioning Budapest to each other whenever it's a reference to Nat killing a kid? Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, yeah. We have to think about that. We have to think about that. But I mean, that kind of is like just goes in with her checkered past anyway, right? She's got that red on her ledger. And Dreykov just makes fun of it. He's like, oh, "Is this your?" He's like, "Is this your pain? Is this your pain?" Oh man, yeah. Great to see Cap here. Absolutely great to see Cap here. Let's see, Iron Man 2. After Iron Man 2 would have been. Yeah, I think that, yeah, and that's true, Nikki. You know what? Maybe right after Iron Man 2 would have been perfect. Maybe it would have been perfect right after Iron Man 2. I think it might have been perfect right after Iron Man 2. Very intrigued. Black Widow since I discovered the pages of the Daredevil as a small child. Yeah. How about the after credit scene? Yeah, we'll get into that too. After credit scene was very interesting. Yeah. Hella implicates for the Hawkeye show. Yeah. Bonus show. Yeah, no boners here. They only save those for the TV shows. Yeah, definitely after credits. You know, team against Valentina. Yeah, maybe so. Love the 80s style action. Bring it back to cinemas. Yeah, yeah. It's above average film. Yeah, I mean, it could easily. It's a film that could easily not be in the MCU. You know, it's a film that could easily not be in the MCU. In credit, make sure Disney Plus is essential. Yeah, well, kinda, yeah, yeah. Liked it. Very basic MCU, but does MCU does basic so well. I had fun. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was. I'm saving you from fanboy tears about being spoiled. Yeah. So I really appreciate the subtle commentary on human trafficking. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The jokes weren't all that fun. Yeah, I mean, again, it's just like, I mean, and I don't necessarily know that it was meant to be funny, but we'll get into some of that too. Some of this other stuff here. Joke tends to ruin good scenes sometimes. Yeah. Title has a Black Widow in it. Don't people know there are going to be spoilers for the movie? Not, they're deluded. Yeah, absolutely, and that's true too at this point. Not every MCU needs to be world changing. Some are just about character, right? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I like to give spoiler free reviews too, so it's a mixed bag. Yeah. It's really hard to say. It's really hard to say. Yeah. The poser jokes were funny. Now, see, and that's the thing right there. Like, and that's the thing for me. Like, right there was like, I get it was kind of funny, the poser jokes and everything, but I also kind of feel like what they're doing, and you know, like look, I'm not like one of these people that's like all pissed off about it, but it makes it feel like they are just trying to poke fun of and look at being sexy a bad thing. Like Black Widow being sexy and using her sexiness at the weakness of men, because you know what? Men like good looking women. We like hot women, right? I feel like they're making fun of that just to and throughout the movie they constantly put Natasha in a lot of outfits that made her look not sexy, right? Not sexualized. They did want her to be sexualized. And fine, you know, whatever. But that is kind of one of the things that Black Widow used as, you know, just as, you know, in her arsenal of things. You know, like men are distracted by that. They are, right? I can you deny that? And I kind of feel like they're making fun of being sexy, you know. And I'm not saying that the what's her name, the young lady playing Yelena Belova, I all of a sudden can't remember her name. Um, I'm not saying she's not sexy or anything, but like the thing is like, and the thing is like they're trying to make fun of it. It's like, okay, so like you don't have to see her as being sexy or anything like that. And it's like, I don't know. I kind of feel like they lose that. And again, they did use that for Black Widow plenty throughout the other films. Now we could get into chopping up things about like the difference between what Joss Whedon did with her character versus like what people like the Russos did with her character. Where I do feel like you see in the Avengers movies and everything with the Joss Whedon stuff, she's more of like a she's more of a sexual kind of symbol. She's like has to, you know, she's always hugging up to Bruce and just all these different kind of things where like you see the Russos where they used her like in Winter Soldier and stuff. She's like sitting there like not even flirting with Cap, but then you see like they do the kiss thing and everything, and she wasn't doing that to try to, you know, get at him or anything. It was all part of what they were doing and stuff like that. But there's things like she knows, she's like, oh, like, you know, like things about these situations, these public displays of affection make people uncomfortable, so she kisses them, and just all of those different kinds of things. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So we have already seen them use that plenty in the film, and I know that's something a lot of people have been talking about. You know, you get on YouTube, you know, on Twitter and all that kinds of stuff. So like they've already gone there and done that with this character, and again, how that plays going forward, like even with Yelena or anything. Who knows? I mean, maybe at some point we'll see her where, you know, we've seen them making fun of the joke. She went in there and she did the landing and she did the pose and did all that. Like maybe it's something that she gets into because she's like, okay, like I get it, like I get it, right? It is distracting to men, right? I think that's the ultimate thing. I think that's one of the ultimate things there too. Now, so again, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think everything they did here in the film was pretty good. But some of that kind of stuff was, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Black Widow is supposed to be sexy, all right? She's supposed to be sexy, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not saying that they have to sexualize her and have her tits popping out every chance they get or anything like that. It's just saying that at times when she needs, like, she don't even have to be in, like, she could be like dressed nice for, going undercover on a mission or whatever, like those kinds of things. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And we haven't seen them prove that they're not going to do any of that in the MCU. I mean, who knows? We might get some of that out of Yelena. We never know. So, like I said, I don't think they've done anything here that's necessarily bad, other than the fact of making fun of the fact that it's funny to be sexy and all that stuff, making fun of it. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of, I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Sorry for being hot. Sorry, ugly people. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I mean, it is kind of true. Beautiful people never know who to trust. But anyway, the other thing too, like we're talking here a little bit about the pheromone thing. I think that's very interesting. Like, because you see what they were doing. Now, some of the stuff we see that they were talking about, like I said, we get a lot of things in here. Like we're seeing Milena, right? Milena? She was talking about her time and what they were doing in Ohio back in the 90s. They were talking about, oh, we weren't stealing weapons or secrets or anything like that. We stole like these basically these blueprints of everything of how to control the human mind, right? And a lot of that stuff. And she goes, at that time we were working with Shield, which was Hydra essentially, and this is stuff we already know, like Shield's always been compromised by Hydra, like the whole time, like they established that. But she mentioned the Winter Soldier program, some of the things that they were doing there, how they took what was it, like what was it they mapped out, the ganglia, blah blah blah. I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't the ganglia, but it was how they did all that to mind control people, which we know that's something they were already working on before in the Winter Soldier program. But here they were trying to do it to get ultimate control of them, and that's kind of what played into the whole Taskmaster thing. Which the whole Taskmaster thing, man, like seriously, like fucking ruined it, man. Fucking ruined it. But I will say, however, we see right now in the Marvel universe, everything's going crazy. There's a multiverse. So maybe there's just a little bit of hope that we might actually get the real Taskmaster at some point. Maybe. Should we even like, no? Yeah, I know. Fuck, we got the Thanos copter. So why can't I keep just a little bit of hope that they might actually come back and do Taskmaster some justice? Now, however, I did also say that the Taskmaster thing, while I didn't like it, it makes sense because, I mean, is Scarlett Johansson really going to go around, beating up some dude that's like twice her size and shit like that? Like, I just, so for the sake of the story, it makes sense. For the sake of the story. Now, the other interesting thing there, too, was the Red Room, right? How was that floating fortress? I thought that was pretty cool. We see how he was controlling everything with the ring. We seen how she was paying attention to that, thinking about more of that technology. But that's kind of the stuff that they were working on, right? That they were working on through the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. That's what Milena was talking about, was when they were doing that there in the 90s and getting away with all those secrets. All that stuff is very interesting, how they got the people under control. It explains Taskmaster, but who else they could possibly use stuff like that on. Also, I mean, it's thinking about that same stuff. When we seen Black Widow, instead of using weapons to beat up the bad guy or beating up the bad guy, she just beats up herself nowadays. we see that they were doing the pheromone thing, right? The pheromones, like, oh, he's like, you can't attack me. You know, because you can smell me. You can smell my pheromones. It's going to keep you like RoboCop. Yeah, you ever seen RoboCop? You ever seen like... Anyway, come on. You know that was RoboCop status. You know it. Anyway, the pheromone thing I thought was very interesting. If that's technology and stuff like that they're playing with, we've seen that they even had like the little vials that they use. They got the widows back from from their mind control and all that kind of stuff. Very interesting stuff there. But the pheromone thing, I think it's very interesting. The pheromone thing, because there are other characters out there who have these pheromones that they use to their advantage that gets people to manipulates them, makes them kind of like that, like kind of like slaves to whatever, like they can't they can't attack them thing. That's a little bit weird, but like I know like one of the things like Spider-Woman. Now I think the Spider-Woman thing that's going on in the Sony Spider-Man, I don't know what the hell they call it, but I think it's very interesting because I know that she can't be the only person out there that has that ability to manipulate people through the pheromones and stuff like that they excrete through their body or whatnot. But I thought some of that stuff was very interesting as well. The other thing with that floating fortress, I mean, seeing a lot of that stuff crash down, it made me think of like Loki in the Loki series, because there was some stuff like in this last episode that's kind of crashed in the background. I'm like, what the hell is that from? Where's that even come from? Like, which leads me again down to, the whole multiverse, and that we could actually maybe get some justice with Tony Masters, Taskmaster, that they completely... Now, again, like I said, even with a lot of these things that were kind of, some of the disappointments, the film itself was still pretty good. Let's see where we're at. Now, I will say that, again, back to the joke thing, I thought that was kind of nice to see, because it was just kind of seeing the sisters bonding together over... And here's the thing about the jokes and everything. Like, they're stupid jokes, but that's the stuff that... Like, if you have any siblings or anything that you probably laugh about with them, probably like the stupidest shit that people would probably look out from the outside looking in and go, what the hell are you laughing about? Is that funny? I feel like it was some of that kind of stuff. Even within the family, the whole family setting too. Because it was all uncomfortable in the first place. But they all still kind of felt that sense of family, right? Even though Melena's sitting there backstabbing him, she called the Red Room and everything, and they were all coming, and yeah, it was like, yeah, that. But again, the movie itself was still pretty good. The title has black women. I don't know if people know they're going to be spoilers. Oh, okay, there we are. But I predict this movie could earn $80 million domestically. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna say, but I feel like they were still making fun of that. You know what I mean? Like the poke is still about that. I felt to be more meta about superhero than Sex and the City. Well, and yeah, I was gonna say, and that's kind of the thing though too. Is like they all have their thing like that they do, right? They all have their own little kind of thing that they do like that. Like their little shit like that. Like she mentioned, like, why do you do that thing? Like, because they all kind of have that. So I mean, I do feel that way about it. Like I said, I'm not outraged about it, but like to me, someone was like, oh, like just making fun of the sexiness because like being sexy isn't like I don't whatever. But like the thing with the pose isn't necessarily about being sexy. It's about posing. I get that, but they took. I mean, there was I'll try to avoid YouTube reviews until I see Black Widow. Yeah. Skin tight bodysuits, like she always wears, weren't sexy. No, like, did you see it though? Like, no, they were like, did you see them? Did you see the suits? Like, it was pretty sad, man. Like, yeah, seriously, like they're like, look, Scarlett Johansson is a curvy woman, and those suits that she was wearing, there was no curves in them damn suits. I'm telling you, there wasn't. Like I was sitting there watching, I'm kind of like, yeah, there wasn't. They have they have binders on. They fucking. They, oh, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that shit. Fucking put binders on. But no, they weren't. Those suits they were those suits and shit they were wearing. No, none of them looked sexy at any point. Sexy women in this content outfit is giggity. Don't count on real Taskmaster. Yeah, I believe you. My hopes aren't up. My hopes aren't. My hopes aren't up for it. I mean, yeah, I doubt we're gonna get that. Great movie or greatest movie? It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Aggressively, it was a good movie. Wonder what price of speculation on the first appearance of Taskmaster. Yeah, at this point they probably don't care. It went down. It went down. Oh man. Okay. She's trying to get as many audiences as she can, and you play hating bastard can't stop knocking the hustle. Oh man. Oh, that's funny. You're funny, aggressively relaxing. But you know, there was a bonus credit scene. We didn't really talk much about that. The bonus credit scene in there was very interesting, right? We had Valentina de Contessa de. I can't remember. You know who I'm talking about, though. The one from they came after John Walker in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. It's very interesting what was set up there with her basically throwing Clint Barton under the bus. Ronin. Thought it was interesting that she had the Ronin. She gave him the Ronin picture, not the not him as Hawkeye. I thought that was interesting, right? Isn't that just a little bit interesting? I thought that was very interesting. But the other thing is, like, what's her role? Is she setting up the Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts? What do you think? After what we've seen in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I kind of feel like she would be setting up Dark Avengers, and the reason I feel that way is because I like it just, and again, it wouldn't make sense neither. Is what we've seen, not Peggy Carter, but the other Carter. Dang it, forgetting her name all of a sudden. But what we've seen her there, Sharon Carter, doing there in that bonus scene or that post-credit scene in Falcon and Winter Soldier, what she said in there, like her exact words, were like kind of like the motivations that Zemo had when he originally set up the Thunderbolts, which was wanting to infiltrate the government ranks and stuff like that, get in good with all the people, get known as good guys, so they could get in on a lot of the secrets and all that stuff, get access to weapons and all that stuff, and, you know, and flip the switch like, hey, sorry, we're bad guys, though. And then they all got caught up in being good guys, right? They all got caught up in being good guys instead of being necessarily villainous anymore, right? So I think that's I thought it was very interesting, and because we see kind of the conversation going on about both of them, where people were talking about that, and I was even talking about that after Falcon and Winter Soldier, how like what's she setting up? Because what Sharon says is exactly what they said in the Thunderbolts comic book. Was kind of Zemo's whole thing there. But then when you get into the like in here, and that's what she said. But then Val, I mean, kind of seems like she's. I mean, look who we got here. We got John Walker. We're going after. She's got Black Widow there on her side as well. So I mean, these are essentially Avengers, not Thunderbolts, right? I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're Avengers, not Thunderbolts. Dark Avengers, maybe. I don't know. One of the other things too that really got me was, and I could dig this piece of shit out if we needed to, but one of the things in the comic books that they did, and here's one of the like I'm kind of like is and here's the thing is like you can probably be like, oh, but the comics aren't the movies. No, here's the thing is like This comic I'm talking about right here is actually the MCU tie-in comic book. The comic book they actually tie into the MCU. They're actually canon. These comic books I'm getting ready to reference actually tie into the movies. They did one for, I want to say it might have been was it Endgame? I can't remember if it was the Endgame one or Captain Marvel one. But they did a scene there, something that was mentioned in this movie. I was like, was that Black Widow went to help get the guys out of the raft, right? Help break them out. But in this comic book, this one that is actually MCU canon, it's canon to the motherfucking MCU, they actually show in there where Nick Fury tells Maria Hill to use Klein, and that Klein, they were going, I'm pretty sure he was using Klein, to go and help Cap break out the guys from the raft. And we know they didn't take everybody. They didn't take Clint, and they didn't take Ant-Man. They both served their time. We know that because they were on the house arrest when we seen them. When we seen them next later in the MCU. By the time we got to Endgame and all that stuff, we know that they took their time, and they obviously must have stayed while everybody else left. Right? Went on to do the whole secret Avengers thing because they were working for Nick Fury in the meantime, in that time after Civil War. That was specifically in these comic books. And that's why I'm kind of like, when they had Natasha, and I'm kind of like, ow, like, they didn't mention her at all. I mean, I guess it's easy to say that maybe she did go help him, but I'm like, we see what's his name in there that got her the Quinjet. I'm like, ooh, I don't know, man. I do not know about that. Should I do a video about that? Like, getting all upset because they broke comic book canon, and people are gonna be all pissed off, but like, it's a different universe, it's not the movies. And I'll be like, actually, this one is the damn movies. I should do that. I need to do one of those outrage videos. Oh, dang it! But that's the thing though. Is these comic books that I'm talking about are actually part of the MCU. But again, I guess they could use the lazy way and be like, oh yeah, she was there with them. Yeah, I know how these people are. Thunderbolts hopefully can be a good TV show. Yeah. And I can't remember. Are they doing that? I'm not sure if they're doing that one. Did they announce that? I don't even know that they've announced it necessarily. I can't remember if that one's going to be a show or if they would do a movie with that. Because that'd be a hell of a movie. It's all entertainment anyway. Anyway, you cut it. Yeah, absolutely. Dark Thunderbolt. There we go. Dark Thunderbolts. There we go. And again, I don't know a whole lot about the Thunderbolts. I only know about the original run. I only read the original run of the Thunderbolts, like their first appearances and stuff like that, which we may end up doing a giveaway at some point on that stuff as well. But as soon as I get my Thunderbolts omnibus. But yeah, very interesting. Artie Jones from Ronan Martin's Laughing, 1968. Yeah. I wonder what the price speculation. Oh, okay, yeah, we already went through that. But yeah, Dark Thunderbolts. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Dark Avengers. Watch. Christopher Barker says, "I'll watch those videos, man." Yeah. Aggressively relaxing will get a kick out of him. I know he will. When you understand how a multiverse works, everything is canon. I know. Yeah, I was gonna say, but that's like, you know what though? That's not necessarily a good thing though. Aggressively relaxing, you're gonna make me upset. It does kind of suck though, man. Like, because that's just the lazy crutch to get away with doing whatever you want to do, right? It's just like, I don't know. Again, though, I do think the thing with the pheromones they were talking about was very interesting, though. The pheromones, the mind manipulation, that floating fortress they had. I thought that was interesting, too, because, you know, ultimately we've got Dreykov here, the Russians. We've still got that whole red versus the United States thing going on here, right? We've still got that going on here. And we see that he's still, still doing it for Mother Russia and all of this stuff. And you see, because, you know, that was the whole thing, you know, like, with all that stuff, the, what was the Cold War, and wasn't that, am I right, like the USA and the Russians, kind of battling it out, which was kind of still the same Shield and Hydra thing as well. We also know that, what's his name, that was working there as well. Not only the great Dr. Arnim Zola, Hail Hydra. Not only the great Dr. Arnim Zola, but also we had what's his name? From Whiplash and in Iron Man 2. We got that back then as well. So like they were always competing with each other. Where we see the Russians, they basically, and you can say what you want, the Red Room was still tied to Dreykov. Dreykov was still one of the Russians, and he was still serving Mother Russia. So the Russians still had their space station up there as well. And this was the modern era of what was going on. This would have been what was it? I mean, we were talking about after Civil War time right here, right? We're talking after Civil War time, so they had their big old floating fortress in the sky as well. Very interesting, very interesting. That there's all that, and that yet you never seen Stark out there trying to combat any of that, did you? Didn't see Natasha Romanoff out there trying to reunite with her sister and take down the Red Room after she supposedly killed Dreykov Banner's daughter. Hank Pym was involved in the Cold War. Yeah, I could easily see how some of that stuff. With the Cold War would definitely all be playing into it. Especially by the time, because they were mentioning in here that like talking about working with Shield, which was Hydra basically, and all that stuff. They mentioned all that. I mean, so like that's essentially what we're talking about, and we're talking about basically also. They knew who they were working with. I mean, like you think that you think that those damn Starks, man. You think that Howard Stark didn't know that he was working with Dr. Arnim Zola, who was a Swiss scientist? But he was working with Hydra. You think he didn't know who he was working with? Man. Loving how all of a sudden everyone is upset about Taskmaster. Most of them have no clue who the dude was until video games, right? Oh, are you coming at me, Cap? Are you coming at me? Do you want a little? Huh? Do ya? Do ya? Never mind. Have you ever seen what was that, Army of Darkness? Huh? Yeah. Hey, but no, man. Seriously, the Taskmaster thing, man. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Look. You're gonna be upset when they make Scotty Summers a woman. If it's not that, you know what else they're going to do to him. They're going to Iceman him. Just take your pick, man. Are you going to be upset? Are you going to be upset, Cap? Are you going to be upset when Scotty Summers ends up being a little 105-pound girl? She's like, oh my God, pew pew, pew pew. To be clear, the film was okay. Could have been, no, the film was okay. Yeah, the film was good. I like the film. I thought the film was good. I thought the movie was good, though. Yeah, that's funny. A Swiss scientist. Yeah. I'm seeing it. Oh, are they? Is everybody all pissed off all over the? I knew that. Like seriously, because I'm surprised XR Kun isn't up in here being all pissed off, because I know he loves Taskmaster too. And dude, seriously, look, it makes sense for the context of the movie, absolutely. it makes like seriously like it makes sense for the context of the movie. But like, come on, man. Come on, man. This is our Taskmaster. This is our Taskmaster. This is our Taskmaster. I'll have to check it out. I have to check it out, Cap. Yeah, because seriously, like, it's something to be pissed off about. It's to me, it's honestly something to be pissed off about. If you ask me, like, I'll get all the outrage. Now, however, I will tell you, you're probably gonna see a bunch of outrage from a bunch of motherfuckers who don't give two shits about Taskmaster, know anything about the fucking character other than his name was Tony Masters and that he had these abilities, everything they fucking Wikipedia. All right, I'll tell you that. I'll give you that 100%. We're gonna see outrage from people who have fucking never read the comics. Yeah. We are gonna see that. But however, we're also gonna see plenty of people pissed off from people who actually do know and like the comics. Like, I know, man. But man, Young Ripper 5'9", man, he gonna watch this movie come back. I don't know, man. That whole Taskmaster thing. I think he gonna get pissed. I think he's gonna get pissed. Like I said, I'm surprised XR Coon isn't in here all pissed off, man. I know XR Coon gonna be pissed. Oh man. I want someone I want to laugh. We were talking about the good green stuff, right? Yeah. Wait, what? Don't wait. He's way more popular than who's way more popular than Tasky? Who? What? Oh yeah. Cap. I knew I'd get you there, Cat. I knew I'd get you. I just remember eyes closed. Oh my god, dude. Stop it. Aggressively says, you did a great job of pointing out a silly problem in the MCU canon in a fun way. You should totally make that a video. Yeah, totally. I don't care about gender swap Taskmaster. I'm more disappointed at not getting a good fight scene with Red Guard. Yeah, as I'm saying, that was kind of disappointing because, like, we got some of those jumps and cuts, but it wasn't the major focus, and we didn't really even get anything of the Red Guardian in here as well. I mean, we even like the thing with Ursa Major. Yeah, I know that's something that Stormy. If you guys know Stormy 821, he's part of the community, part of Everyday Geeks. That's one of the things he was talking about with that character coming in, and he wasn't really, a major part of it. He was arm wrestling, got his arm broke, which kind of, the Winter Guard. But yeah. And again, I don't like I said, I think with like the gender swap of it was silly, but I'm just disappointed that it's not like why can't you just do Taskmaster? Why can't you just, like? Wasn't there somebody recently that did an interview that said, oh, they take the comic books and they use their comic book canon and shit. Like, motherfucking female Taskmaster is not comic, like, is there, like, I don't know, because I'm not like some sort of Taskmaster master. But is there a female version? Is there a female version of Taskmaster in the comic books? I know they bitched him out in this last series that he just did. Yeah. I don't even want to tell you. You know what? And here's the other thing too. This is the one thing. And I blurted out something in the theater with my friends. They were laughing at me too. I'm not gonna say what I said, but there was the part where all the Black Widows came back and like, oh hey, come with us. We're gonna save you. You think we're gonna leave you behind? I was sitting like, no. No. I don't care what kind of happy-go-lucky, women, we're all friends, and like you were like fighting against us, we were fighting against you, you saved us, we're gonna make sure we don't leave you behind, like, nah. I'm not gonna say what I said in the theater, but I'm like, that's we all know that's not realistic. They wouldn't. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that shit. They wouldn't do that shit. Oh man. Okay. I'm complaining about tokenism is low hanging fruit. Yeah, I mean, like, and the thing is, because we could sit here and do that all day. Like, look. I mean, that's the obvious thing, though, right? That's the easiest thing to nitpick at. And believe me, by all means, it's bullshit. Why couldn't you just give us Tony Masters? But like I said, within the context of this film, everything going on, it made sense. Was Scarlett Johansson, like I said, was she gonna sit there and beat up some dude that's 6'5"? Is she gonna sit there and beat up somebody like the dude like Chris Hemsworth is a bad guy? Like, I don't think so. They don't even have to be Chris. Like, was she gonna beat up somebody Captain America's size? That had the skills of Tony Masters, and like, was she gonna beat that guy up too? Like, I don't think so. I mean, in the context of the film, it makes sense. But yeah, it's so you're saying that people who have no idea what they're talking about are going to be bitching, are going to bitch and moan? Yeah, that never happens. Yeah. Good green stuff. Loki. Oh man. A great fight scene would have scene cuts would have been Red Guardian's shining moment. Yeah. We certainly didn't get enough of that. And again, he wasn't the central focus of it neither. But I feel like they should have gave us more of that. Wait, there are people who are pretending like they care about Taskmaster on Earth. Can you tell me what to search so I can go laugh at that? Oh, dude, I guarantee you, man. I guarantee, and I know too. I know, Chris. I guarantee you, there's already multiple videos out there. That's why I can't wait to get off the stream. There's already multiple people out there who are pissed off about Taskmaster. Like I said, I get it. But that's again, that's kind of the easiest thing to nitpick about this show. That's kind of the easiest thing to nitpick about this show. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I know what. Yeah, gosh dang kids. Anyway, that moment when you go to take a big bite of food, in fact, not holding any food. Oh man. MCU is separate from the comics. Red Guardian is a letdown, and I'm kind of pissed about it. Yeah. Well, like I was saying earlier, Christopher Barker, though, there are some comics that are kin to the MCU because they are actual MCU crossover comics. Like, and that's what I was talking about earlier, though. But yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that video. I'll get all outraged. Taskmaster has been comedy relief for 30 years. Yeah, again, I don't know. I won't confess to know a whole lot about the character. I'm not heavily invested in him. The most I would be heavily invested in is the fact that there's nothing wrong with doing the character how the character was in the comic books. But again, I mean, that's just me. That's just me. Because the comic books aren't getting that. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for being here today. I'm going to bring this live stream to an end, but let me know if you guys are here hanging out. Let me know all your thoughts on Black Widow, what you thought of it. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much for being here as well. Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know if you have any theories or anything coming out of this. Like I said, there's really a lot to get into, and I need to watch this a couple of more times before I get in and really want to get into more some of the stuff in here, because again, there's some very interesting things that I think that they brought up here in this movie that could lead to other bigger things going on in the MCU in the future here, especially with like a lot of the super soldier stuff, the mind control stuff. Like I said, that whole pheromone stuff, very interesting stuff they had going on there. Like I said, there's just like so many big implications for all these little things that people just aren't quite talking about yet. I know we'll get there. I know Eric Voss over at New Rockstar is probably digging through everything and looking at all this stuff. I know Josh over at the Den of Nerds, he's probably sitting there going through all of these different things, kind of dissecting everything, and probably going to regurgitate it to us all here in a future video as well. Looking at a lot of these things, because there was, like I said, there was quite a bit of stuff that happens in this movie that I really do feel is going to be feeding into the future of the MCU, not just stuff in the past. But that's if you ask me. But your fake outrage is hilarious. Oh man. But thank you all so much for being here today. Guys, make sure that you go check out. I think I did see that Josh over at the Denim Nerds went live. Make sure you go check out my friends over at the Denim Nerds. Go check out and hang out with the Nerdvengers. You all have a very good day, and we'll see you guys tonight on the Trailer Park Live. So if you're not already, make sure you subscribe, click that little bell and all of that good stuff. Share this video out with your friends. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you like it, give it a thumbs down if you don't. But most of all, make sure that you are here on these live streams interacting with all these cool folks. I basically go live on the morning times at 8 a.m. or soon thereafter. Like today was about 8:30. I was out getting my bike ride on. I was out riding my bike. I know it's Tour de France time. I'm doing all kinds of miles. Well, more miles than I have been anyway. More on that in the future. But also, like I said, make sure you subscribe to all that stuff. If you want to become a channel member, consider doing that as well. Consider doing that as well. We're doing giveaways. We've got some stuff that I've got to send out to all of our channel members as well. But you all have a very good day, and we'll see you tonight on the Trailer Park Live. Yeah.